It's just fun. But we're live right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. And if you're on the replay, give me #replay. On this episode, we're going to talk about how to have a happy hustle while you're doing your podcast, how to do it in a way that makes you happy and fulfilled. And you're also, doing something that's meaningful and purposeful. So just to introduce this beautiful man I have here to my to my left. He is a model too, by the way. I think I would explain you as, I guess, the Dos Equis man. The world's most interesting man.
Take it.
You do so many stuff, dude. Like you're an author, entrepreneur, you have your own podcast, you're a biohacker, you're an eco warrior, you're an actor. There's a lot you do. But I think what's the coolest thing about you is what's on your hat, your movement, what you stand for. Happy hustle, dude. So yeah, man, thanks for being on the show. For people who don't know who you are, like, how would you explain your life in a nutshell?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate it. I think you did a good job. I don't really fit in a box. I don't think most of us do. And yeah, my real mission now is just spreading the happy hustle, a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact, and living life on my terms. That's really my goal. And, helping others in the process.
Yeah. How much does health play a role in it? Because I know, like, obviously you're VP at Biohacking Secrets, which is like the stuff he's taught is amazing. Like that's the stuff I used to change my life. Like I worked at McDonald's when I first started. I had to, before I became an entrepreneur, dude, I had to change my health so I could actually think right and have the right thoughts. How important is that to you in your daily life?
Dude, health is everything. I think it's a cornerstone of my foundation. And really, if you're not healthy, then you really can't perform your optimal self in any area of your life. So I think really having healthy habits, getting a routine that works for you, making sure you're sweating every day, at least moving every day, right? Stretching in the morning, doing the little things, right? It's more important to focus on the dose rather than the poison, will you? It's the dose makes the poison. So if you're going to have a beer, once a week, you'll be okay, right? But if you have a beer every single day for that week, it might affect your liver detox, right? So you need to really look at your habits. And for me personally, health is a priority. So I think it's everything.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I try to do. I try to sweat every day. I think you and me have the luxury of living in Florida.
Yep.
But I mean, you also have a sauna that you use like every day, right? Which I'm jealous of.
Yeah, sauna is a super beneficial biohack, will you, to detox the body. And I think getting cold every day too is it's a hot trend right now. Everyone's loving the Wim Hof cold method, but we've been doing it for a couple of years now, and I've seen huge exponential returns from that 2 to 3 to sometimes 4 minutes if I'm feeling froggy in the ice bath, to decrease that inflammation, increase that blood flow, circulation, and really just burn calories. And you just feel so much better throughout the day if you're getting hot and detoxing the body with the sauna, and then getting cold and hopping in the ice bath. They're using a cold shower too. That works, but not as
because it definitely detoxes your organs because it just gets all the blood just going straight inwards. I see you have the best videos whenever you do the cold plunges. Like if you go to Cary's Instagram, it's amazing. Like the videos, you just you look like Mr. Miyagi when you hop out.
Daniel son.
Yeah, and the dose thing, 100%. Like I think the quote, "Take it with a grain of salt." I think that's because there was a medicine where, depending if there was a grain of salt or not, it would be a matter of a medicine versus a poison.
Yeah.
Small little things like that,
For sure.
Too much of anything, So
yeah, everything in moderation. I mean, even exercise in moderation. Don't burn yourself out. It's important to eat healthy, yes, but sure, if you want to go out and spoil yourself, my kryptonite is pastries. So if I see a really good guava cheese pastry, I'm gonna put that thing down.
I think anyone, bro, sugar is a lot of people's kryptonite.
So. Right?
Yeah. Cool. So, dude, I want you to explain in your own words what happy hustling means, because I was on your podcast recently, and I just loved the whole vibe, and that's your podcast name as well, and what it means. So how would you explain it to someone who doesn't know what that means?
Well, I mean, I think I explain happy hustling in terms of living a life of passion, which is self-facing, purpose, which is outward serving, and positive impact. If you have those three components in your life and you're, smiling and having a good time along your journey, you're happy hustling. You can get caught up in the grind pretty easy these days. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there pitching the grind, not to name any in particular, Gary V. But and I respect the shit out of these guys that are out there hustling. But the truth is, what's it all for? It's to be happy at the end of the day. And why wait till you get to the peak of the mountain to be happy? Be happy along the journey and take a step every climb and continue to look out over the vista and enjoy the moments, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And I think everyone has their own definition too. For some people, it might just be their family,
Yeah.
And I know what you mean. What are some hacks for I saw on your website, you had your top 5 happy hustle hacks. Like, what are some hacks you use to stay happy?
Yeah, I mean, you can get that whole PDF on my website, just caryjack.com, and I send it to you for free, and you can apply those happy. Is a big we good?
Cut out for a second. Yeah, we're good now.
Yeah, gratitude is first and foremost as a happy hustle hack. If you're not journaling regularly and just taking a moment to reflect on what you're grateful for, I think that is such a missing component in the entrepreneurial grind. If you aren't journaling, maybe consider it and pick up a journal in the mornings and just, journal. We still live?
Yeah. I'm just keeping it on you, dude.
All right. I was like, I don't know. Hey, I see a lot of shimmy shake going on. I'm getting bigger and smaller. I like it. So yeah, really, gratitude first and foremost. That's one of my biggest happy hustle hacks. Moving the body, we mentioned it. Nutrition, I think it's very important what you put in your body, making sure that it serves your purpose, to hopefully help others. That's another happy hustle hack, is just really making sure that you find something that speaks to your heart, that makes your soul sing. If it's volunteering, with underprivileged youth, or if it's, starting your own nonprofit for elderly care, who knows what it is. But when you get outside yourself and really practice service, I think there's a huge component to becoming more happy. And then spiritual practice, obviously connecting to source, energy, God, whatever you believe in. I think there's a big component there that those are some happy hustle hacks that I use to just stay grounded and present and happy.
Gotcha. What, did you initially, your backstory, did you ever have struggles with things, and how did you kind of overcome them when it comes to how you got here? So
yeah, dude, plenty of struggles. I don't even talk about them on my podcast, The Happy Hustle, because I don't necessarily like to take it in a negative light, but I'm happy to go there. I used to have the complete opposite mindset of happiness, and
but there's a yin and the yang,
the yin and the yang. That's it. Yeah, I got the yin yang back there. I grew up doing martial arts and practicing Tai Chi and Kung Fu. So I'm very much on the peaceful and the warrior side of me. And, that's really, I think everyone has those two sides inside them. And it's not always, happy-go-lucky, Cary. Sometimes the warrior in me comes out. And I used to come out a lot when I was younger. And that was one of my biggest struggles. As a kid, I had really bad anger problems, and I had to go to years of anger management and counseling, and I had a whole process, and I would get into a lot of trouble because I was, very aggressive and had just a lot of issues with that. Then, coming from a divorced home, it wasn't very pretty, that whole split, and had to, testify in court, and there was suicidal parents and some issues there, and I moved 24 times as a kid.
24 times.
Yeah, I
don't even think I've moved that much as a human.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their shit, man. I don't I used to be in a white collar gang, and then I went to jail for a little bit, quick stint. I did some stupid shit, and I learned the hard way. And that was before I was hustling or happy hustling. I was just hustling and doing slanging drugs and making mistakes, and that's now not me anymore.
Yeah. Is there anything okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Cause I mean, I always say like the greatest teacher is just life itself. The stuff that you come into, even if you think it's bad in the moment, there's always things to pick up and lessons that kind of shape who you are. What's your life look like now? So like working, like what is VP of operations at Biohacking Secrets mean? Like,
I mean, basically, I wear a lot of hats. That's what that means. It means Anthony's right-hand man, and we've been scaling the business. We have a high-level coaching program at Biohacking Secrets. For those of you who don't know what Biohacking Secrets is, it's essentially a health and performance company. We have a high-level coaching program. We serve Olympic gold medals athletes, high-level multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs, and then your average soccer mom sometimes comes to us and just has some serious chronic issues or Lyme disease or cancer. We attract a very broad array of clients, and we can serve just about anyone with some of these ancient wisdom and modern science principles. So my role usually is client touch points, sales, really making sure the business is running effectively. And we have our upcoming event, so a lot of logistical planning and delegation in that regard. So yeah, my life for that business is Monday, Wednesday, Friday focused on, Biohacking Secrets, and then Tuesday, Thursday, more so Happy Hustle. And then Saturday is a buffer day where, I pick up the slack for Sustainable Breakthroughs, another venture that I'm involved in. And then just, sometimes free day as well. And then Sunday I try to digitally detox, that's important as well.
Yes, I'm the same way. Sunday is me just like to rest and kind of like assess my week and like journal and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, can you kind of explain like how the podcast like has been for you so far? Like you're on episode like 20 something?
29, baby. Yep.
29. Let's go.
Yeah, dude. I
know
75%. Universe. It was good.
50% of podcasts don't make it past episode 7. And then the next like 25% don't make it past like 24 or 5. So
heck yeah.
Most people quit. Yeah. Most people don't jump in the cold shower, man. They don't stick to it. The hard stuff.
Mental fortitude.
So like what's been the biggest benefit so far that you've gotten from like doing a podcast?
I think the biggest benefit is just talking to cool people like you, Dexy. Honestly, you get to talk to cool people.
It's like, when else do you get to like have a conversation with people like this, like in the normal world? Like, unless you're like physically there.
For sure, man. I think, just being able to connect with awesome people, sharing their wisdom, being the reporter, it's been a blessing. I'm super grateful. And naturally, I love to connect with others, but also you want to leverage your time most effectively. So that is one way to do so. Do a podcast interview, then, leverage that content in many different facets through social media, through the podcast, through the website, through, many different verticals. You can reach people with that same content. And I think that's one of the biggest, bonuses of having a podcast.
Yeah. And that's essentially what our business is built off of too. Like we call it a content funnel. Like with a lot of everything we get from a podcast, we can literally put it on everywhere online. And then funnel the content is obviously meant to make people like change their life, funnel them to whatever goal you want. Some people, they funnel them different places, wherever you want to take them. So like, what is like the main goal for your podcast, the major goal?
My main goal is to get to episode 200 and then reassess.
I love that you said that, because I literally just did an episode about this, about goals for podcast. And I was like, consistency should always be your number one goal. Because 80% of the game is like you discover on the way, like as you just take the steps.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this works. Oh, that didn't work. Or this is, you know what I mean?
Dude, I don't even look at my stats. I honestly, I just realized I spent 4 hours in post-production with this last episode, just like cutting promos or telling my editor what to cut, and then, writing a good bio and all this stuff. And I was like, damn, I told my girlfriend, Steph, I was like, this thing is really, upfront investment of time, energy, capital. But you know what? I know I keep putting out good love and light energy and good content, it's going to come back full circle. And even if it doesn't, I get to connect with great people and, share my message with whoever decides to listen. So that's my goal, is to continue to do so and learn lessons along the way.
Yeah. And I mean, and you're, like you say earlier, like you're creating content that matters, So how do you feel like, what do most people say is most unique about you? Like the people you work with, the people who follow you, et cetera. Like, what do they say about you in general? What do you think?
I mean, probably my closest friends probably say that I am the jack of many trades, Cary, jack of many trades. And it's like, yeah, I would say I believe in 80% proficiency in everything you do. And if you can get to that 80% mark in snowboarding, fly fishing, hunting, all the things I love to do, martial arts, whatever I try to do, I try to get to 80% proficiency. And then that last 20% is usually what it takes to get to greatness. You have to go all in, and it's really dedication. But you can get to 80% proficiency in just about any skill set with a little bit commitment and mental toughness. So that's what I think a lot of people say about me is unique, is I can do, a fair amount of things decently well.
Yeah. What are like what would you say are the biggest skills that you've developed, that you've learned along the way to help you kind of with everything?
Improv. That's one of the biggest skills.
Wait, so like actual improv, like on stage? Like
I went to 3.5 years at Second City Improv School in Chicago, like where all the comedy greats. Yeah.
Okay. That's a degree, dude.
It was like off and on for 3.5 years. I did levels A through E, and each level is an 8-week course. And then I took writing courses and, some stand up, and like that skill alone has just been like my cornerstone of my performance and my acting world and modeling career, as it's all based around some sort of improv. So if you're out there listening and you want a podcast and you want to be great on camera and you want to, not saying I'm any of those things, but I do have, using my improv skills, I have fostered the ability to adjust on the fly, do accents. If I want Vladimir from Russia to come out and drink vodka with Anastasia, I can do it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's skills that you may never need, but it really does help to have improv in your corner.
Yeah, I've been waiting to use my Arnold impression for a while. Like,
get on the Java. Get down.
Like, what? So what specifically did you do in improv? Like, what are like the exercises you do? And I mean, obviously, like, I guess the environment is a big factor, like having the social engagement. Like, could you like recreate that environment? Or did they like have to go to improv classes, you think?
I think you can recreate it with some structure on your own. I will recommend going to a professional class. There's some simple principles, like one in particular with improv is just the principle of yes and. So if I'm like, hey, Daxie, here's this podcast mic that actually is covered in slime. And you're like, oh, that's just a podcast mic. There's no slime on that. And it's like, wah, wah, wah. The scene's dead. But if you're like, yeah, this podcast mic is covered in slime, and it is used for more than podcasting, but for pleasure too, wink, wink. And you're like, yeah, it is for a podcasting mic and for pleasure and covered in slime. And it also has, blah, blah, blah. So you just keep the scene moving with whatever you're doing with the yes and. And that's one of the cornerstone principles of improv.
Knowing how to like build on top of something.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Keep the momentum going.
Yeah. And you can use it in, sales, you could do it in business, you could do it in whatever you're out there, happy hustling for it. It's just a mindset shift rather than, killing someone's esteem with a hard no. You just yes and readjust.
Gotcha. And you do that for your podcast too, I'm assuming?
Yeah. I mean, I do a lot of different improv tactics for my podcast. I would definitely recommend, if you are interested in improv, Second City is, where Tina Fey, Jim Candy, John Belushi, David Robinson, all like Amy Pollard, all the SNL greats, a lot of them come through there. Will Ferrell, there's a ton of pros that go through there. And the reason is because they do a great job teaching you, so it's with anything you do. If you want to learn from the best, you sometimes have to invest.
Yes.
And that rhymed, but I didn't.
I mean, you could rhyme a word with itself, right? The best and best. So like what, I guess on that topic, who have been like the biggest like mentors in your life? Like, and kind of what kind of things have they taught you?
One of the biggest mentors in my life was Dan Millman. Actually, he's an author. He wrote The Peaceful Warrior that really shaped my journey as a young teenage boy when I was going through all those anger issues and going down the wrong path. And he was at first just a digital mentor, right? I read his books and I saw him stuff online. And then I reached out and I went to one of his conferences. Then I built a relationship. And then I was texting with him. Then I optioned the rights to one of his books to make a movie. And then I wanted to star in it. And so I just created this whole like connection with him. And he's taught me a lot really about tapping into self, your higher self too, not just like your conscious self, but your higher self. That was a valuable lesson, and really just, having both those sides of me in balance, the peaceful and the warrior side. So that was a good lesson from him.
Gotcha. So like, what are some habits you do to kind of like, what would you say are like some foundational things that are part of your life that you do to kind of like, like you say, stay in spirit, keep the happy hustle going and just having the right like vibe, like frequency in your mind,
Well, I mean, I think really tapping into your source energy, getting still is essential. Being in nature is like something I do every day, even if it's just in my backyard, grounded to the earth, barefoot with the sunlight. It is so important to get outside. And we live now in this modern day like zoo animals, and we're just caught up behind our devices, and we're looking at artificial lights and eating processed food, and it's not serving us. We're animals. We're meant to be outside. And really, that's one of the things that keeps me vibrating on the right frequency, I think, most of the time. I'm far from perfect, guys. I'll tell you that right now. I have plenty of flaws, and I'm not always happy hustling. Like, I was in a weird mood earlier this morning. I was like, I just feel like I got so much, there's plenty of times when I feel angst and anxiety and stress. And I think right now it's very important for all of us to retune our circadian rhythm, retune our biology on a cellular level, and get outside in nature is one of the best ways to do so.
Yeah. So a lot of the people that are you work with in Biohacking Secrets, like you said, they're high performing people, high performing entrepreneurs. What are some like results you've seen they've had from implementing some of these things? Like, how has that affected their business, their life, etc.? Because I'm sure a lot of people are like content creators too, right? Or some of them might be personal brands. How much has that affected it? Like, what kind of results have you seen or case studies?
I mean, we've had amazing case studies. Like, we have a 99% success rate with our coaching program and 0 chargebacks, 2 stats I'm very proud of. And it doesn't get that way without getting people results, Yeah,
so how many years have you guys been running it now? Like
6. It's been crazy.
That's crazy.
I mean,
that's
like
no customers.
Biohacking Secrets has technically, like, we had the health blueprint before. Ants wrote a book, and it was the health blueprint before. But, with Biohacking Secrets, we have results from people coming to us in a wheelchair. Like, actually, there's a really good episode Anthony just did on our business podcast, the Biohacking Secrets Show, with a client named Frank, who came to us with chronic Lyme disease, multiple co-infections. He had such bad internal degradation that he was in a wheelchair, living in his parents' upstairs, room, back in his childhood room. And he was a grown man, and he couldn't walk. He was in a wheelchair, and he came to us after sleeping in the bathroom the night before. He got on a phone call with Anthony. He couldn't move because the grout in between the tiles hurt so much when he was trying to wheel his wheelchair over those tile grout, that he said, "Dad, just leave me in here." And he spent the night in the bathroom because he couldn't move. He was in so much pain. His body was shutting down. He was like 97 pounds or something. He lost about 50 pounds. And then within 9 months, he was running on the beach in Mexico. I mean, that's a pretty extreme case, but that is, testament to the power of what we're doing and his willpower, truthfully. But like some of the protocols and strategies that we employ with him to get him from, complete shutdown to now, living a full life. It's there's case studies like, we work with clients like John Lee Dumas from, Entrepreneur on Fire and Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels. And, these high performers are already at the peak, but they're just looking for those last 5-10% incremental gains that have
the edge.
Exactly the edge to stay sharp. So it really just depends. We were just at the hockey game with two of our clients, Olympic gold medal athletes and captain and assistant captain of the Blackhawks, Chicago Blackhawks. And these guys are already peak performers, crushing it, but they are just looking for that little extra gains, to beat out the competition. So it just depends on the client,
Gotcha. I saw that recently. Do you watch hockey a lot?
I do now. Before I did.
I saw my first game like a few weeks back with my buddies. We had some awesome seats for the Orlando Solar Bears, which I didn't even know was a team name till I got there. I was like, Solar Bears, that's fucking epic. Like they have polar bears, but a solar bear.
That's pretty great. Is that I don't know, is that NHL or is that like the league below or?
I'm assuming like it was in the Orlando Magic Stadium. I'm assuming it was a professional team.
Really? Dude, that's a great name.
Yeah, right. Wait, is it the ECHL? Is that a league?
Oh, all I know is the NHL, and I do really enjoy watching the sport now. I wish I played. I just grew up half in Florida, half in Montana, and I didn't really have many ice rinks down here in Florida.
It was a crazy game because it was like 4-2, and then in the last minute they scored 2 goals, and it was insane.
Oh,
it was
really?
the best game in the history of the team. I was like,
oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah, the craziest comeback. But those games are intense, man. Those players go through a lot. Like you got to be physically in shape. Like they slam each other at like high speeds.
Yeah, and then their travel scheduled. They're like game on, travel full day, next day game. Travel full day, game on, and they're switching time zones and they're getting no sleep. It's like a professional athlete life is, it looks glamorous, but there's a lot that goes into the back end that these guys are true warriors.
Cool. Well, dude, can you kind of explain like what the type of people you get on your show, what you talk about, so people who are interested, they can go hop on, listen to your show, etc.
Yeah. I mean, I get a whole bunch of random people on. It's really the qualifications are you must be happy and you must be hustling and you must be willing to share your love and light with the audience and be really unapologetically yourself. I had on John Lee Dumas of the Entrepreneur on Fires podcast. I had on Danette May, author, entrepreneur. She's a best-selling author of The Rise. Had on Miss Universe, Natalie Glebova recently.
Saw that.
Yeah, I had on Garrett Graverson. He's traveled to 186 countries. He's going to the last 10. He's going to be in the Guinness World Record.
Oh, wait. Is that the one from he lives in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
My partner knows him. I've spoken with him, actually.
Dude, he's a great guy.
Dude, epic story. And like I was watching his Instagram stories for like a few weeks. I got to check him out. Like when he was traveling to these locations around crazy stories.
I have one really awesome people, as do you, so there's a lot of synergies between the two podcasts. And, I do a solo episode on Fridays and then Tuesday I do an interview episode. So if people want to hear me, rock the mic and share my story and some lessons I've learned. And
that's exactly what I do, dude. I think I do interview on Tuesday, solo on Friday. Yeah.
Great minds.
You got to, because I think it's kind of therapeutic doing your own episodes. Would you say that? Would you say so?
Yeah, I think it is sometime. And then sometime I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what I gotta talk about today.
Sometimes it's like, but it's like going to the gym, sometimes you're like, I gotta work,
Yeah. I'm grateful because I wrote a book called The Happy Hustle, which is coming out later this year. And what I've been doing when I'm running low on content ideas is I just open up the book and I'm like, all right, let's talk about this chapter. And I kind of read from there and then spitball some newfound knowledge around the topic.
Cool. Yeah, that's actually like, I think it could also be the reverse. Like if you do a lot of good episodes and content, you can make that into a book. Like one of my friends did that. He took all of his interviews, like put it into a book. I think Tim Ferriss has done that with Tools of Titans.
Yep.
Literally just all interviews. That's a great idea. So, dude, I have some rapid fire questions because you did it to me and it was fun. So
let's do it.
And but we'll have to get you back on when you have the book out, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, dude. I love this question, so I got to ask, what is your spirit animal?
Oh man, I would probably say cheetah that mated with a grizzly bear.
Okay, hold up. This is that's not an okay. That's
not a real animal, but if it was
a cheetah that mated with a grizzly bear, okay. I'm trying to imagine what that would look like. The inception. Okay, I'm thinking of like a liger or something.
Yeah, kind
of. Okay. What's something that you used to believe 3 to 5 years ago that you no longer believe?
That partying and running amok out there looking for fun, quote unquote, is worth it. In reality, it's not. You have to treat this body like a temple and take care of yourself.
Yeah. Short-term thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your number one book of all time?
Peaceful Warrior.
Peaceful Warrior. Yeah. And what's your current obsession? Like, what are you kind of like into? It could be anything, like just geeking out about, like you just love learning about it, watching it, etc.
Krav Maga.
Krav Maga. Yeah. I remember you told me that.
Yeah.
Do you practice that? How often?
A couple times a week, usually. Yeah, it's Israeli survival system for those of you who don't know, and it's all about just maximum damage, maximum efficiency. Yeah, it's super practical.
Ever tell you kind of look like Bradley Cooper?
Yeah, couple times. Yeah,
I'm sure. Like, if you ever went, have you been to Israel or Egypt or?
And I've actually been to Thailand, lived there 9 months, where they shot The Hangover 2, and I was signing a lot of autographs over there. And one time in particular, I was at where they filmed The Hangover 2, and one of that beautiful high-rise. They actually thought that I was Bradley, and I didn't say I wasn't. So they took me up to the penthouse, and we had a whole night where they shot the movie. They're like, "Welcome back, Bradley. Come here." It's funny.
Holy shit. That's epic. I wish he would have recorded that.
Yeah.
That would have gone viral.
I got pictures of it. It's pretty funny. Me, like, with Bradley's picture behind me, and I'm like doing the same pose, and everyone's like, "Oh my God." It was funny.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, cool, dude. I appreciate you sharing the time, bro, hopping on here, sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, man. If people want to follow you, where's the best place they can go to follow you?
Yeah, they can go to my website, caryjack.com, CaryJack.com. And, online, just Cary__Jack on like Instagram and, Facebook, Cary Jack. You can go there, check it out. And then if you're interested in like biohacking secrets stuff, you can go to biohackingsecrets.com and learn more about what we're up to. And we do have an event coming up April 16th through the 19th. So if you guys are feeling froggy and want to optimize mind, body, and spirit, holler at a player.
Yeah, in Delray Beach.
Yeah,
all right, guys.
Hopefully you come.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna ask you about that here in a sec. Appreciate you guys watching. Till next time. Peace out.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.